Hello and welcome to one and all. So we'll move on to the next topic in the industrial sector about the small scale industries. What are all the characteristics, importance of small scale industries in India, and what are all the problems and the remedial measures taken by the government. So the first one is the characteristics of small scale industries. So before I move to explain the characteristics, role, problems, and importance, let us say what is the meaning of small scale industries. So meaning of, basically it is based on the, what is the fixed capital investment on plant and machinery. So based on that, the small scale industries are those. So small scale industries or those industrial units having a fixed capital investment in plant and machinery whether held, you have to highlight this, on ownership basis or lease basis or hire purchase basis and the investment does not exceed rupees 10 crore and turnover does not exceed rupees 50 crore. Initially it was 25, just investment on plant and machinery is between 25 lakhs to 1 crore. But this is as per this capital limit of 10 crore and turnover does not exceed 50 crore. This is as per the recent, the micro, medium and small scale industry, the MSME notification, which was announced by the government in 2020. So this is for the latest one on 1st June 2020. So this is the current fixed capital investment of small scale industries. So it is given plant and machinery whether held on ownership basis or on lease basis or on hire purchase basis, because the small scale industries, every small scale industries entrepreneurs, they are not equipped to install the plant and machineries on their own. So some of the small scale entrepreneurs, if they are having that much amount of capacity, then they will invest on their own. So that is, then it is on the ownership basis. Or if they are not able to own on their own, they will take the plant and machinery on lease basis. That's why it is on lease basis or on the hire purchase basis. So because the small scale industries, they are all not having that much amount of capital. So it can be either on the ownership basis or on the lease basis or on the hire purchase basis. So whatever it is, if the investment limit does not exceed 10 crores and the turnover, that is the sales volume, does not exceed the 50 crore. So that is as per the latest notification announced by the MSME, that is on June 2020. Okay. So now first let us check out what are all the characteristics of small scale industries. So characteristics of SSIs, that is the small scale industries. So they have a distinct features when you compare it with the large scale industry. That's why especially we are checking on what are all the basic characteristics of small scale industries. So they differ largely from the large scale industries. First and foremost, ownership pattern in the small scale industries. So the most of the time, the ownership in small scale industries, either it is proprietorship or it is a with partnership. It can be established based on partnership with few individuals. So that is the ownership. So most of the time it is sole proprietorship, even if it is, or it can be established in the form of a partnership with few individuals. So that is the ownership pattern of the small scale industries. Second, moving on to what about the management and control of small scale enterprises. So it is mostly the small scale industry, you can call it as a one-man show. Okay. So obviously, if it is a sole proprietorship, there is only a single owner. So it is definitely it is a one-man show. So by everything is managed and controlled only by the sole proprietor. So sole proprietorship, obviously it is only the management and control is vested with only one person, even if it is in the case of partnership also. So most of the time, what happens is uh, only one active partner will be there. So only one active partner who is making all the managerial decisions and control of the small scale enterprises. All the remaining partners, they are all the remaining partners are they are dormant, or what you call as a sleeping partners. So they don't play the active roles, they just invest. Okay. So they don't play the active role in taking the managerial decisions. So only the one active partner, he will make all the managerial decisions. So that is about the management and control of the small scale enterprises. And then moving on, next characteristic, next feature of small scale industries is what about the area of operation. So area of operation, mostly the area of operation of a small scale industry is confined only to one particular locality. The main reason is it is a small scale industry. They don't have that much amount of capacity. They don't have that much amount of resources. So what they are doing, they are procuring whatever the resources available locally. So the resources are procured locally, whatever the resources in the form of labor, raw materials. So whatever the resources that are available in the local area, so that only they are procuring. So because of this reason, the area of operation is confined to that local area, catering to whatever the local demand. So catering to local demand, unlike the large scale enterprises who cater to the needs of the demand, meet the needs of demands of the people across the country. So, but whereas the small scale industries, they cater only to the needs of the local demand. The main reason is that they don't have that much amount of capacity in the form of capital, in the form of technology, in the form of raw materials. So they will cater only to the local needs. And then when it comes to technology, most of the small scale industries, they use only simple technology. So they don't use the sophisticated technology as used by the large scale industries. So they use the simple technology, and mostly it is labor intensive. So whatever the technology they are using, it is more labor oriented, giving huge amount of employment with very less capital. So they use very less capital intensive. The major portion of their operation is done with the labor force. So it is manually operated. So that is the type of technology they are using. Next, moving on to the next characteristic, that is its gestation period. So the meaning of gestation period is, what is the time gap between production and consumption. How much time it is taking for the manufacturing process to be completed. So as far as the small scale industries, the gestation period is relatively lesser than the large scale industries. So the large scale industries, they take a long period of time for the manufacturing process to be completed and before the final product reaches the consumer. But whereas in the small scale industries, the time gap is very, very less. So lesser than the large scale units. So this one major advantage of this gestation period, this time gap is very less between production and consumption is, one is that the according to their planned investment and they can planned estimated cost, they can meet the target. So if the time gap stretches beyond your for a long period of time, then whatever the calculations, they will go haywire. So then the cost might escalate and the prices will also escalate because the investment is happening, but the final product is taking a lot of period for the final product to reach the market. So in that case, inflationary trends will happen in the economy. So those are all the problems of the large scale industries, because most of the large scale industries, whatever the nature of the product, the nature of the services they are undertaking, the gestation period is very, very long. So because of that reason, the price level will increase in the country. And according to whatever they have estimated cost, whatever they have planned investment. So that might not happen because the time gap is too long. But this is one major advantage in the small scale industry, because they can plan their investment, they can plan their cost, they can plan their revenues, returns, because the time gap is very, very less. And also at the same time, the price level also will not increase. Okay. So this is one of the features of small scale industries and also the main advantage of small scale industry apart from employment generation. And the next characteristic of small scale industry is in their flexibility. Since they are using simple technology, they are more flexible. So they can easily adapt to the changes in the changing taste and fashions and demand of the local customers. So because they are not establishing a huge plant and machinery, huge factory and all, and they are using the simple technology. So they are more flexible to changes in their products, design, etc. So according to the changing demand patterns. So there we have seen that their area of operation is confined only to the local area. So according to the local available resources, whatever the people, the demands of the local people, they easily change their raw material, they easily change their resources, they can easily change their product, they can easily change the design of the product. Everything can be changed because they are procuring the resources only from locally, and that technology is also very, very simple. So it is easier for them to adapt to the changing taste of the local people. Okay. Then the next one is resources, which I've already mentioned. So they use whatever the indigenously available resources. So they use only the locally available resources like raw materials, labor, etc. So they need not have to search for raw materials. They don't have that much amount of problem of scarcity of raw materials, and and they have to search for raw material from far off places, search for the skilled manpower from the far off places. All those problems are not faced by the small scale industries because their main resources they procure is whatever the available resources indigenously. Okay. Then another advantage of small scale industries is dispersal of units. So dispersal of units, small scale industries can be spread all over the country. They can be established any nook and corner of the country because of their simple operation. Okay. So large scale industry, they tend to be concentrated only in those areas where the specified raw materials, specified labor force are available. But whereas small scale industries, according to the availability of the raw materials and local manpower, they are producing according to that. So it can be spread with a simple technology. So it can be spread across the country in any nook and corner of the country, including the backward area. So the main advantages can be decentralized. Decentralized, same meaning, dispersed. Can be established anywhere or can be established anywhere, including in rural areas. So it is ideally suitable for the development of balanced regional development in the country. So suitable for to promote balanced regional development. So all these are the specific features of small scale industries. See, large scale industries, they have only the concentration. They cannot be decentralized. And the large scale industries, they are not flexible. Okay, they cannot just because the taste and fashions of the people change, they cannot immediately switch over to some other product, some other design. So because they have invested huge amount of capital and they are more capital intensive. So all these are all the major differences between the small scale industries and also the benefits of small scale industries for the countries like India. Okay. So going on that, because of those benefits of small scale industries, that leads to the next topic. What is the role of small scale industries in India? See, it is not only countries like India, even the developed countries also include, for example, if you take Japan and all, even for that matter, USA and all. So they are also depending mostly on the small scale industries. Even in those countries also, nearly, say for example, 40% of their manufacturing output is coming from the small scale industries. See, Japan and all, they are mostly electronics, isn't it? So electronic, they are all from the small scale industries. So it's not only for developing countries. So the small scale industries are playing a major role even for the developed countries also. So then if that is the case, then you can imagine how much it is beneficial for the developing countries like India. Okay. So coming to the, what is the main feature of countries like India? So SSIs are more suitable for countries like India. So what is the problem we are having? On the one hand, we are having abundant supply of labor, and on the other hand, we are having scarcity of capital. So which are labor surplus and capital scarce countries. So which is small scale industries are ideally suited for countries like India. Okay. So first and foremost, role of small scale industries. Small scale industries generate employment opportunities. So they are labor intensive, isn't it? So more manually operated than machinery. So it can create huge amount of employment opportunities for a country. So there is a reason. Since small scale industries are what you call labor intensive. Labor intensive means more amount of capital, more amount of labor than machinery. So labor intensive, they generate more employment opportunities. So what are all the problems we are having in our country? It's not just the, so many, we have seen, isn't it? There are so many types of unemployment in our country. And since small scale industries can be established, including the rural areas, so we know what is the problem we are facing in the area of employment in rural areas. So this solves the problems of, so we are facing the disguised unemployment, more population pressure on land we have seen, isn't it? Disguised unemployment. And apart from the general unemployment, this also solves the problem of disguised unemployment and seasonal unemployment prevailing in the rural areas. Because if the small scale industries are established in the rural areas, then the extra labor force who are employed in agriculture, the disguisedly unemployed labor force in the agricultural sector, they can be transferred from the agricultural sector to the small scale industries. So in that way, it solves the disguised unemployment. And also off season, the genuinely employed labor force in the agricultural sector, during the off season, they can get employment in the small scale and cottage industries. So that is in that way, it is solving the problem of disguised unemployment and seasonal unemployment in rural areas. Apart from the fact that being a labor intensive, it generates a more amount of employment opportunities. See, the handloom, the textile industry is the major employment generated in our country. Okay, so handloom industry itself is creating a more and more amount of employment opportunities. Then the second advantage is small scale industries enhance mobilization of resources and entrepreneurial skills. Enhance is increasing. What it is increasing? Mobilization of resources and entrepreneurial skills. Mobilization means assembling, collecting, gathering. So that is the meaning of mobilization. So what it is mobilizing? The resources and entrepreneurial skills which are available in the local area. Since we have seen the characteristic, small scale industries use the local resources. So whatever the resources in the form of entrepreneurial skill, whatever the resources in the form of labor force, whatever the resources in the form of raw materials which are available in the local area, so those local resources can be utilized by establishing a small scale industry. So if the small scale industry is not established in that particular area, see in any area, even if it's a remote, very backward area also, there might be some kind of uh, facility available there in the form of, there might be some people with certain amount of entrepreneurial skill. There might be a certain amount of raw material available in that area. There might be a certain amount of labor force available in that area. So by utilizing the locally available resources of all these, small scale industries utilizing all these locally available resources. If the small scale industries are not established in that particular area, what will happen to all those entrepreneurial skill, labor resources, raw materials available in that particular area? Everything will go waste, isn't it? So in that way, small scale industry is enabling the locally available resources to be utilized. So to put it in words, small scale industries can mobilize what all it can mobilize the local savings. The savings might not be much, but still there is a certain amount of savings available in that particular area. And that can be put into use. And entrepreneurial skills. There might be some local people having a little bit of talent, little bit of entrepreneurial ability. So that can be put into use. Into this page. Entrepreneurial skills from rural and semi-urban areas. Because it can be established even in the rural and small semi-urban areas. So, but for the small-scale industries, meaning if these small-scale industries are not established in these rural and semi-urban areas, all those resources will go waste. So, but for these industries, these resources would have remained unutilized. Isn't it? So in that way, small scale industry is enabling the utilization of all those locally available resources. They might not be suitable for the establishment of large scale industry, but we don't need that kind of technology in small scale industry, isn't it? So those locally available resources can be utilized. So that is the next advantage. And the next one is the facilitate the small scale industry, facilitate equitable distribution of income. Since there are two reasons. It can be established everywhere. That is one reason. So there is equitable distribution of all over the country. Small scale industries can be established. That is one reason. In that way, small scale industries promote equitable distribution of income. And also another major reason is small scale industries are labor intensive. So more and more employment is generated. See, for example, if you take the large scale industries, so they are capital intensive. So the name itself is a large scale industry. That means what? They have to make huge amount of investment. Okay. And because they are making huge amount of investment, everything, high investment. So that leads to high revenue in a large scale industry. But this revenue is distributed mostly in the form of rent, interest, and profit. So the major portion of this revenue is going in the form of rent, interest, and profit. And since it is a capital intensive industry, it is only lesser portion of the revenue is going in the form of wages. So the one is the employment is less, and also the wages paid to the laborers are also less. So they have to pay high amount of rent. They have, because their investment is huge, they have to pay huge amount of interest. And since it is a high investment based and large scale industries, automatically they will expect more amount of profit. So the total revenue distributed accrues more in the form of rent, interest, and profit, only a very less portion in the form of wages. So this is unequal distribution of income. But whereas small scale industries is exactly the opposite. It is a labor intensive and the investment is less, and most of the revenues is distributed in the form of wages. So in that way, it is facilitates equitable distribution of income. So the SSIs are widespread, because widespread is it can be established anywhere and have large employment potential. So both this are leading to equitable distribution of income. So this ensures equitable distribution of income. Okay. So then the next one is the same, more or less the same. Regional dispersal of industries. So it can be established anywhere, including the backward area. So it promotes a balanced regional development. Okay. So as the small scale industries can be started even in the backward areas, even in the backward areas using, because large scale industries, they will tend to be concentrated only in those areas which are having the better infrastructural facilities, better raw materials, labor force. So they tend to be concentrated only in the developed areas, not in the backward areas. So using local resources, it promotes balanced regional development. And also it another advantage of the small scale industries is it also prevents the people migrating from the rural areas to the urban areas. So all those problems of migration, overcrowding, congestion in the which we are facing in the urban areas are eliminated because of the establishment of small scale industries in the backward areas. Also, it prevents the migration of rural people to urban areas. Space. Urban areas, and all the problems like we have no all those problems like overcrowding, pollution, all those can be avoided if there are small scale industries established in the rural areas associated with urbanization. Okay. So still some more points are there, which I will explain to you in my next class. Okay. And there's one thing I suggest that you, when you people are writing the answers, the board exam, please see to it that you are using the same side headings what is mentioned in the textbook, which that's what I'm mentioning when I'm writing also. Please don't change the side headings. See to it that you are using the same side headings. Okay. So with the remaining points, I'll continue with my next class. So if you find this video useful, please like, share, and also subscribe. And if you have any doubts, please mention it in the comment box. Okay. So until my next class, take care. Bye-bye.